The whole thing, nature is a puppet. You see, we are all puppets, like it or not. You have no free will, no freedom of action. That's the cause of man's sorrow. Well, I have said my piece. And
who's pulling the strings?
You.
Are we just chemical machines?
You are, you see, a biological being, like it or not, you see. You know, nature has no use for anything else.
We seem to think
Reshuffling of, huh?
We seem to think we have
You
freedom.
seem to think that's the unfortunate part, somewhere along the line, you see. I don't even know if there is any such thing as evolution, but we assume and presume that there is. The human species experienced for the first time this is self-consciousness. When I use the word self-consciousness, I don't mean in the sense in which you all use the self, that there is an entity, center, self. It is just like, you know, the self-starter.
Come on, Sunil, come in.
The car. So he felt and experienced for the first time the separateness from, you see, the nature around him, the life around him. And otherwise, you have to treat the whole of nature as a single unit. We are not created for any special purpose, the human species, you see. You know, what is that word? Fortuitous concourse of atoms, you know. If there is a shortage of atoms anywhere in the universe, the nature will use all these human bodies to maintain its the energy level somewhere else, you know. But unfortunately, the culture, the society, or whatever you want to call it, superimposed on it what we call thinking, you see. You know. But we have, I don't want to give a talk, we have to ask the fundamental, basic question, what thinking is and why do we think? These are the two important questions which we have to ask. We take it for granted, unfortunate but nevertheless true, that the thoughts are not spontaneous, they are not self-generated. You see, they always come from outside, and it's not that I have a special insight into the human brain, but from what has happened to me, what I have stumbled into, made it possible for me to realize that the human brain is just a reactor and a converter and not a creator, you see. So the thought responds to the stimuli and translates them in terms of your ideas, and then feelings, emotions, etc., etc. So it is a unitary movement. You can never separate yourself from the totality of things around you. And what separates you from the totality of things, the nature, or whatever you want to call it, is the thought. What is thought? Are there thoughts? That is my question. Are there thoughts? Let alone what is thought? What is there is only about thoughts, you see. You know, but no thoughts.
But they tend to give meaning to things. I guess that's where...
You can define a thought, but basically there is no such thing as a thought at all. What is there is only about thought, you see. You have no way of separating yourself from thought and looking at thought, you see. I don't know if you have ever tried it, you see. So can you separate yourself from your thought and look at it? You see, the very question that we are asking is absurd because we assume and presume that there are thoughts and that we can separate ourselves from thought and look at it. Why the hell do you want to indulge in such a frivolity of separating yourself from thought and look at thought? It can only create the problems and it cannot help us to solve the problems. And because we have tremendous faith in our thinking, and that thinking has helped us to create everything, we still have a tremendous faith in that, and we hope that through the help of that we will be able to solve the problems that thinking has created.
But isn't thinking a natural phenomenon? I mean, you seem to say that it's not. I mean, is it not a physiological thing, a property of the brain that it thinks?
No, that's all that I'm saying. It's not the property of the brain. The brain is only a reactor and not a creator.
So it's not a thinker. I mean,
It is not. There is no thinking at all. The brain is not involved in thinking at all. Is another thing you will be surprised. What after all is man? Man is a memory. You see, we don't still have the answers for the question, what part these neurons play, see, in memory, and what memory is. The other day I was discussing with a neurosurgeon, and he said, how you have stumbled into this, what you are talking about is something extraordinary, because we have now more or less come to a tentative conclusion that every sense has a different memory, you see. So the eye has a memory of its own somewhere, the listening mechanism has a memory of its own, and there is no such thing as a totality, you see, of the memory. And brain is not interested in translating any of those sensations for the purposes of maintaining its status quo, you see. So all experiences which we consider to be extraordinary, the bliss, the beatitude, the love, the compassion, are a menace for this body, because it is not interested in that, it is throwing them all out, you see. That is the reason why there is pain. See, when once you have an extraordinary experience, a pleasurable feeling, and that demands the permanence. You see, the demand for the permanence is something which the nervous system cannot take it. So what we call pleasure is pain for the body. As far as the body or its responses are concerned, both are the same, whether it is pleasure or pain. But the moment you translate it into a particular sensation as a pleasurable sensation, the demand to make it last longer goes with it. So it is trying to throw out, so what you call pleasure is turned into pain by you, and it is, you see, something that the body is trying to throw out. You see, it is not interested in enjoying any of these pleasurable sensations at all.